governor, Port Royale's long history as a haven of privateers and pirates began to change. Law and order becomes the rule of the day, and no one embraces this philosophy more than the fine, upstanding swordsmith Will Rollover. Will has been rescued by the governor and his daughter when the ship he was sailing on to Jamaica was attacked by pirates. Will respects the governor and is deeply infatuated with the governor's daughter, Labby Swan. With the recent promotion of the British naval officer, Commodore Muddington, the governor has commissioned Will to make a sword to commemorate the Commodore and brother Commodore's new rank. The delivery of the beautiful sword is a perfect excuse for Will, dressed in his finest, to visit the governor's home and hopefully see lovely Labby.
Very nice.
The new anti-piracy laws have held prison at Port Royale garrison with petty thieves, drunkards, curs, and mongrels, all whom the new governor deems as qualifying as pirates. But there is one prisoner well and truly deserving the term, Captain Jack Spaniel. Okay, knowing that he has a perfect scapegoat with which to demonstrate the conviction of English laws against piracy, the new Commodore Muddington pays Jack a visit. Okay? Muddington states, "So, Jack Spaniel, that brand on your wrist says that you have had a brush with the East India Company and that you have been labeled as a pirate. They say when you were captured that you had only one shot, no powder, and no compass. I have expected your sword to be made of wood. You have to be the worst pirate I have ever heard of." Spaniel retorts, "Aye, but you have at least heard me, sir, and Captain Jack Spaniel, if you please." Muddington quips, "Well then, Captain Jack Spaniel, we have to remember that when it comes to your execution for piracy." Unbeknownst to Labby, the necklace she always wears, a souvenir taken from the wreck of the ship which the young Will Rollover had been rescued, is more than just a small black tom. As she stands admiring the ornament in her bedroom window, a beam of moonlight hits the com, triggering ripples that attract some very unwanted attention. The evil fleabag, Captain Barboza, knows the cursed com has emerged at last. His one-eyed spy in Pause Royale tells him that only a pup former crewman, old Bootstrap Bill, is living in Pause Royale. It makes sense that Bootstrap would have sent his share of the cursed treasure to his kin. Only with this last piece of the cursed treasure can the spell affecting Barboza and his crew be lifted. Under the cover of moonlight, Barboza sails into Port Royal with the intention of holding hostage the most valuable asset he can find, the governor's daughter. He sneaks into the governor's home and kidnaps Labby Swan, leaving behind a ransom note. Ransom note for young Willover, instructing him to bring the Kong to Barboza in exchange for Labby's release and freedom. The next morning, Will finds another excuse to stop in at the governor's home.
Wait, we're saving out.
Yeah, sorry. Ahead of myself. Okay, the next morning, Will finds another excuse to stop in at the governor's home in hopes of seeing Labby again. As he walks up to the door, he finds the ransom note. Will knows that he does not have the Kong that the pirate is looking for. He has never heard of it and has no idea where to find it. But, they say, that the pirate who is in prison, who probably knows about the ship and the treasure, maybe he can help Will rescue Labby. Sneaking quietly into prison, Will approaches the cell, holding the notorious pirate. Will asks, "Are you familiar with the ship that came into Port Royal last night? It's captained by someone called Barboza. Do you know him? Do you know where the ship makes berth?" The spaniel reveals, haven't you heard the story? That the ship and its crew make their home at Isla de Murta, an island that can only be found by those who have already been to the island, and you have never been there, so what does it matter? Will declares, "But you have, and you can take me there." Spaniel counters, "Aye, but there's no profit in it for me, and besides, locked up in this cage, it's not like I can take anybody anywhere." Will responds, "I can help you escape. The governor's distraught over the kidnapping of his daughter. He's asked Muddington to move your execution to this afternoon. When they take you out to the firing squad, I will create a diversion, and when that happens, run to the north wall of the garrison." Spaniel states, "Oi, what good will going to the north wall do me? They'll just shoot me there." Will replies, "You will just have to trust me. If I help you escape, you must help me find Labby, the governor's daughter. And this Kong thing, if that's what we need to get her back. Agreed?" "Agreed." Spaniel responds, "I agree." That afternoon, Spaniel is released from his cell and taken to the executioner's block. Muddington exits his office and approaches the condemned pirate to read the list of charges. Okay. While Commodore is reading the list of charges, Will quietly climbs up on the garrison wall. Wrong paragraph. Muddington reads, "Be it known, the Commodore Captain Jack Spaniel has been convicted of the willful commission of crimes against the crown, crimes that are both numerous and sinister, the most egregious of which includes piracy, smuggling, impersonating an officer, impersonating a cleric, sailing under false colors, looting, pilfering, floor and actions of general lawlessness. For these and other crimes he has been sentenced to death. May God have mercy on his soul. While the commandant is reading this list of charges, Will quietly climbs the garrison wall, across the rampart, and down into the armory. Muddington commands, ready. In the confusion, Captain Jack slips off the execution block and begins to make his way.
Ready? So go ready and fire.
Yeah. Oh. Just a second. Yep, you're right. Will circles around between the firing squad and the spaniel. Muddington growls, aim. Aim. Okay. Just as the Commodore Muddington gives the command to fire,
Bang! Bang!
Will falls and the firing squad rushes to help what they believe is an innocent man. Jack slips.
In the confusion.
In the confusion, Jack slips off the execution block and begins making his way to the north wall. Just then, boom! The gunpowder explodes and Jack slips through the newly created hole. Okay, as British crews rush to the firing line to the side of the explosion, Will drops the furnace lid that's hid under a shirt, protecting from the firing squad's bullets, and runs off through the wall. Both Jack and Will make their way across the